I grew up an awkward immigrant boy in New York City. I grew up to be an awkward immigrant teen in New York City, but then an awkward immigrant young adult in New York City. I had trouble connecting to people. I had trouble making friends for a while. I didn't really have a social life until college. It didn't help that I was dressed in hand-me-down clothes from cousins. I had a haircut that my mom gave me, and a foreign name that could be mispronounced 12 different ways, half of which emphasizing the syllable ass. Yeah. Also, some of my friends were my bullies, so I had trouble trusting people. In general, it was hard for me to start conversations with strangers, with new folks. So one Sunday in New York, I'm in my early 20s, I'm getting into a cab in front of my apartment building in Rego Park, Queens, and almost immediately the cab driver starts with, "Fucking heat, huh?" Now, talking with cabbies was an added level of difficulty because it's awkward talking to the back of someone's head, not getting that eye contact, but also conversations with cabbies tended to be one of three topics. Number one was traffic, and I've delegated that task to you, my man, so traffic is no longer a me problem, it's a you problem. Topic number two was sports, and I grew up on movies and theater, and the plot of sports just didn't move often enough to maintain my interest. Do love sports movies, though. And then, of course, topic number three was the weather. Now, this Sunday happened to be on the hottest weekend on record at that time in New York City. So, of course, he started in with "fucking heat, huh?" Which also, let me tell you, is the most New York way to open a conversation with a complete stranger. Normally, I wouldn't reciprocate, or if so, minimally, but I was kind of amused, so I came back with, "Oh, yeah, it must have been particularly rough for you being in this cab all weekend in this heat." To which he responded with, "Actually, I wasn't in this cab, I was in lockup. I got out this morning." I know, right? I'm not sure exactly how I responded. I mean, how do you respond to that? But I think it was along the lines of, "Oh," except I might have accidentally put an upward inflection at the end, like, "Oh," because he felt the need to tell me more as if I was curious. So here's what happened. Apparently on the Friday of that weekend, the cabbie had scored a baggie with 2 fingers of cocaine in it and decided during some downtime to pull over on the side of the service road of the Long Island Expressway. Service road is the feeder road, same thing. So he pulled over to the side of the service road behind what was then the old Alexander's department store so he could do a line of coke off the front seat of the cab that I'm sitting in the back seat of. And at this point, we're on the expressway. There's no aborting this ride early. There's no getting out. We're in it. So he was doing a line off the front seat. And when he sat up, he automatically saw blue and red flashing lights. Dun, 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 the cops. So the cabbie, in his infinite brilliance, decided to not get caught with a baggie of 2 fingers of cocaine. And the only thing to do was to down said baggie of 2 fingers of cocaine. I'm not kidding at all. Give or take what he already snorted, but yeah, he downed the rest. Thinking, not only will he be able to destroy all the evidence, but he'll defy any scrutiny, and of course he didn't. Even he admits the cops were onto him right away. They know what powdered sugar looks like. So as he was telling me how they were taking him in, and they were fucking with me, and they were messing with me, and they were beating on me. And this is my early 20s. I hadn't quite developed my skepticism of the cops yet, but even then, I don't know which side of the story to root for. This guy is not the most reliable narrator. And then he said the most racist thing I had ever heard in my life up to that point, and probably since. And I will soften it considerably for y'all. But he said, "And then they threw me in a cell with a bunch of N-words and N-words with the word sand in front of it. Now, as I said, I was socially awkward, very sheltered. I'd only heard the N-word in media. I'd never had it casually tossed out in conversation like that to me. But also, I had never heard it with the word sand in front of it. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if I was one, because I'm an immigrant from Israel. We got a lot of sand out there. I'm thinking, am I supposed to be societally offended or personally offended at this moment? And as I'm going through this process, I catch the cabbie slowly pivot his eyes up to me through the rear view mirror, and it dawns on me, he hasn't looked at me this whole time. Even when I got into the cab, this is his first glimpse of me, and now he and I are similarly assessing my identity. And this is confirmed when, after a bit of a long pause, he follows up with, direct quote, "I'm sorry if you happen to be either of those things." Now, at the time, I was an English major at Queens College in Queens, New York. Double major, actually, English literature and writing. I didn't graduate, mind you, but for 5 years I majored. And I knew how to parse a sentence at least. And it was very clear he wasn't apologizing for what he said as much as apologizing for who he was saying it to, or maybe saying it to the wrong type of person. And I wish I could tell you I had some sort of snappy comeback that I put him in his place or anything like that. I wish that I said something like, "Hey man, you're a racist drug addict with a criminal record and probably countless other bad life choices under your belt. Maybe don't worry so much about what other people are." But with a lifetime of having been bullied and having a disciplinary father who would punctuate certain lessons with a whip of his belt, I learned how to avoid conflict. And even in cases with people who very much deserve conflict. I was so conflict avoidant, I think I still tipped the guy, just out of habit. And at this point, it didn't matter because we're pulling up to my final destination, my mom's house. And as I'm getting out, I say, "Stay out of trouble, huh?" Which, let me tell you, is the most New York way to end a conversation with a complete stranger. Thank you.